All right, Armando, welcome to the Fairview Social Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure, and I've been seeing a couple of the podcasts you have been doing with Mike and Bert,
Yeah.
our friend there, Bert. So I think it's going to be it's something. Honestly, I have to tell you, I'm nervous, and I was nervous to come.
No,
And
don't be nervous. Here, let me tell you why you don't need to be nervous. Number one, like, we've been friends for a long time.
yes, that's true.
We've known each other for a long time. I think that you're a very important part of the community out here. So I know that it's kind of weird because we got microphones and headphones, but we're just going to have a conversation. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So Armando, well, we go way back. We go back to, well, let me have you start. I just want to kind of know, like, how you got to Fairview. Like, were you born in the States, or were you born in Mexico? Like, tell me a little bit about you.
I born in Mexico in a very small town.
Mm-hmm.
It's outside of Mexico City. I born in May 17, 1976. So I'm gonna turn 49 in a couple of weeks.
You're getting old, Armando.
Yeah, I'm getting old.
I see all that gray in your hair.
Yeah, you can tell. And I've been here in Fairview for 19 years.
Yeah.
When they opened La Plaza, I think it was 2007.
Were you in Mexico before La Plaza, or were you living here already?
No, I've been here on the States about 25 years. So I've been living here more than half of my life.
Yeah.
So when I was here, I was 24 years old when I come here.
Yeah.
I started working. I've been doing working in a restaurant all these 25 years.
Yeah. Did you do like restaurant type stuff in Mexico?
No, I used to be a supervisor at a factory before I come over here.
Yeah.
And my mom, she was the one who used to work in a restaurant like a waitress, very close to home. So I think my brothers and myself, we never thought we're gonna end up doing working in a restaurant business.
Yeah.
But I remember she used to work in that small restaurant in our hometown, and in the evening she used to take some of the food that it was left or they don't sell it, and that's how she used to feed us in the evening. So
wow.
Yeah, so I think probably that's the beginning, or how we start working or ended up doing
That's a I always used to tell my kids, like, whenever they were looking for a job or something, because I did this too. When I was in high school and when I got out of high school, like, you got to find a job like working in the food industry, because then you at least know you can always eat. You know, maybe you can't afford to eat food or something like that, but if you get a job working at a restaurant or something, you know you can always can always eat the food there. So, no, that was very smart of your mom to do that. So when you got over here to the States, where did you live? You haven't lived in Fairview since you've been here.
No, I live in Nashville.
Yeah.
On the Knowledgeville area for 6 years.
Yeah. And you were working in the restaurant, doing restaurant stuff?
Yeah, I started working for Las Palmas. So it used to be in Las Palmas and Hendersonville a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I started washing dishes there for, I think, a little bit over a year.
Yeah.
So I kind of learned some of the kitchen stuff while I was working on Las Palmas.
It's funny to think that everything that you've done here and all the businesses that you've opened and everything that you do, and you started by just washing dishes at the Las Palmas out in that area. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I start from the bottom, and I've been working really, really hard to unless be able to provide for my family.
Yeah.
give the opportunity to my kids to have a better education that they can have in Mexico is very, very different.
Yeah.
It's not the same level, and it's not the same quality of education, or even the school is not the same.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Actually, me and Bert were talking about, when Bert came on here, we were talking about you and talking about Fernando being, working at the La Plaza. When you were managing that out there, him being so young, and just like, to me, that's awesome to be able to teach your kids work ethic, and that's a lot on him because he's trying to do his school and trying to do all that, but also teaching him that, like, hey, you have to work hard. And I don't know how many people even made comment on it back when we used to go there all the time about how Fernando's just like, he's on it, and then you see him now because he's in business with you, isn't he? Right?
Yes, he's in two business with me.
How old was he when he was working at La Plaza?
I think he was 8 years old. He
was 8 years old doing all that kind of stuff. And now, how old is he now?
He's 20. He gonna turn 26.
He's 26 now, and he learned at a young age, like, hey, you got to work hard for what you have, and he'll be successful because of that. But Bert and I thought that, Fernando's such a good kid. He's not a kid anymore. He's an adult. But back then he was so nice to everybody, and everybody knew him. And actually that makes me think of, like, then you opened.
Yeah, when we just opened the restaurant by Publix, it used to be called Nando's.
It used to be Nando's. And I remember you told me that, you were naming it after Fernando. I was going to ask you, why did you end up changing it from Nando's to Cano's?
Oh, we have to change it when we start opening the Laos location, and we try to open on downtown Nashville a small delivery or pickup businesses. Some of those concepts called cloud kitchen, dark kitchen.
Yeah.
And when we start doing that, a couple months later, we receive a letter.
Oh, no.
And it's for a big company called Nando's Peri Peri. So they have maybe over 200 restaurants in Europe, and I think they have some here in the country. So they say, hey, we notice you are using our name, so we're gonna switch you because this name is trademark, so the name Nando's is trademark. And we try to negotiate with them and say, I spend a lot of money on signs, menus.
Yeah, you're just a little company here in Fairview.
And we told them, our food is very different than yours.
What kind of food was theirs? Was it what it was?
It's fried chicken. So even you can see the bottle salsas like.
It wasn't like a Mexican cuisine or anything like that. It was just something completely different, and they had a problem with that.
Yes, they say no. You are confusing our customers, and they even send us some pictures. Say if people look for Nando's, it shows you restaurant first.
Oh, really? It showed Nando's out here in Fairview.
You go to Google or Apple Maps, it shows our restaurant first.
Wow, I had no idea. I didn't even know this story at all. That's pretty crazy. That it's a restaurant chain was it based in Europe?
Yeah, the United Kingdom.
In United Kingdom, in the UK, and then they had a couple places here. Had a problem with with
a little Mexican restaurant in Fairview.
Yeah, so because I remember, this, and I talk to you about this all the time. Like me and Nikki's way that we go and visit restaurants is very like we're there every day, and then we go away for about a year or two, and then we're there every day. Back, yeah. Because, we get tired of, mainly it's like you don't want to spend a bunch of money eating out all the time. And so I remember like we were going there all the time. And when we don't go, it's not because the food's not good or anything like that. We just like, hey, we're going to stay at home, save a little money, do all the things. And I remember like I drove by and I was like, where's Nando's going? And it's like you changed the name of it. I didn't understand why you changed the name of it. I can't believe that it was because of something dumb like some big company like that was confused. But that's good though that Google was pulling your restaurant rather than theirs.
Yes, and so we tried to negotiate with them, and we even offered to pay a fee if they let us continue using the name with our logo and that.
So you tried to do all that
Yeah, we ended up spending about $10,000 in attorney fees.
Wow.
And they say no. So they tell us no, you need to change your website, uniforms, menu, your other two business, and even my food trailer. They say we find out you had a business registered like Cano's food truck, no, Nando's food truck. You had to change that too. They said, okay. So we had to do it, and
so you changed it all. That's when I had no idea that it was that. Because the thing is you can have names of. I mean, people have companies all over the place that are the same name as something else, and it's usually not like a problem. And I can't believe that you had at the time Nando's. Was it only one location, or had you gone out to Lyle's at that point?
We had Lyle's on that.
So you had two restaurants, and they were upset about that. That's crazy. I think that it's probably for the best, I guess, because now you don't have to worry about any of that stuff now. But that's a lot of money to spend on changing
and it's something. It teach me something I learned from that.
Yeah.
So it was hard in the beginning to change the name because my son and my stepfather.
Yeah.
But it's a funny part of that because I told to my wife, we can change just a couple letters and just say Mandos.
Yeah.
She said, no, I don't like it. And I told her, what about our last name, Cano?
Yeah.
She Cano said, okay, that's better.
Well, at least Cano keeps it in the family. It's your bloodline, and it still honors Fernando and all that. But it's definitely a shame that you try to do something nice for respecting your family and respecting your the kids that are coming up after you, and then you had to change it all. Which I guess is better that you change it now than if you had like 10 restaurants or something and then had to change it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but it's very disappointing to hear that you had to change it. But luckily, Cano's is great. I mean, at least it's your last name. It's got your mark on it. So tell me about because you guys started it over here. Well, let me rewind. So I met you through La Plaza, and I was telling the commissioner yesterday about me and Bert hanging out at La Plaza all the time, and having a few drinks.
Have a few drinks.
There's been plenty of times where me and you and Bert were staying after hours, having drinks, enjoying our time. What made you decide to leave La Plaza? Because all of the people that are listening that have been here for a while know that like you were like the face of La Plaza, and then all of a sudden like you left and you went and started your own thing. Like did you have plans to go and open your own place, or how did all that play out?
Yes, before I go to Dixon, I get a partnership on Las Plazas in Dixon.
Yeah.
And I had a cousin who used to be my assistant manager on La Plaza, and they say, hey, we just opened a restaurant in Dixon, but it's not doing very well. Do you want to buy us a partnership with that restaurant? But the condition is you had to let your cousin go and be the manager there.
At the La Plazas
in Dixon.
Well, let's tell everybody. So there was La Plaza in Fairview, and then they had opened Las Plazas in Dixon, and so they wanted you to go out there and were you running it? And who else was it? You said
my cousin.
Your cousin was running it.
Yeah, so we buy a partnership on Las Plazas.
Okay.
My cousin started running that place for a year, and La Plaza was a hit on that time.
Yeah, La Plaza was rocking and rolling out here.
Yes.
I mean, that's what I think a lot of people didn't understand is you were out here in Fairview and then you were gone because you were out in Dixon. You were trying to get that one going because they were trying to recreate the magic that you brought to La Plaza and Fairview to Las Plazas in Dixon.
Yes, and so after he was there, I think it was a year, so I decided to move to Dixon. And I decided to move over there because some of the other partners or the partners of La Plaza, they start having trouble between them. And I think at that time, Two Margaritas already was here.
Yeah, Dos Margaritas had come in where Movie Gallery was. And so did you said the partners of La Plaza were having issues?
Yeah, between them, and because having another Mexican restaurant obviously is gonna impact your sales and your profits.
Yeah.
So they was not really happy about it, and they was trying to put a position where I had to take aside one of them, and I say,
yeah,
I don't want to be.
They put you in a bad position.
Yeah, so I told them, I don't want to be on the middle of your problems.
Yeah.
I have where I can go and I can run the business over there.
Yeah.
And you figure out what to do.
So you moved to Dixon.
So I started up. So I go to Dixon.
And you put all your efforts into Las Plazas.
So I put all my efforts. I was there for 8 years.
Yeah.
On Dixon.
I was gonna say because it was a long time that between you being at La Plaza in Fairview, and then you were just gone one day. Because like I said, me and Nikki we go somewhere all the time and then we stop, and then I was like, who's all these new people? Where's Armando at? And then you'd gone to Dixon.
Yes, and I run La Plaza for about 7 years, and after I left, they changed managers very often. I don't know why, but...
Is it the same owners even now? Or
no, I think one of the original owners, he ended up to keeping their whole restaurant.
Yeah. All right, so you go out to Dixon, and so you're out there for 8 years. Were you able to, because I think we went out there a few times, because we actually saw you out there 1 or 2 times. Were you able to get that business going out there and everything going pretty good?
Yeah, everything going pretty good. And just before we opened Nando's here in Fairview, we opened another concept like that in Dixon too. And that restaurant is called Laredo's Burrito and Taco Shop.
Where's that at?
It's on the laundromat on Highway 46.
Okay, yeah.
And that place started doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So we get a partnership on that. So we start running that place too. And so I was running between Las Plazas and Dixon and that one. And while I was here sometimes I see some customers from La Plaza, they always tell me, when you gonna coming back to Fairview?
Yeah, everybody wants you back.
We want you open a restaurant here or do something here. We love you. And I have several customers from Fairview who go to see me over there. They follow me there. They are following me everywhere I've been moving.
Yeah. I think that what people need to understand, and actually the commissioner and I talked about this yesterday, that relationships are very important.
Oh, yes.
Especially, I mean, relationships are important anyway, but especially in a small town like this, because I could go to any Mexican restaurant anywhere, but like I chose to go to La Plaza because because I knew that Armando would be there. If I go to Cano's now, it's like I know that like you're going to be a part of it. I'm supporting you in all of that. And so it's very important that people understand that when they get on Facebook and they complain about certain things about restaurants, that it affects, what they're doing. Maybe you had a bad day. Maybe the restaurant had a bad day, and it's just important to understand that, we're supporting, as a small community, we are growing and we're getting bigger out here in Fairview, but it's important to understand that, we're supporting an individual, a company, any of these small, McDonald's is different. Everybody's going to complain about McDonald's or Hardee's or something like that. But these smaller, these hometown restaurants, you being a part of that, it's like we support you. So people were telling you when you were out in Dixon, like, hey, we want you to come back, because that's what you got to understand, Armando. I don't know if anybody has told you this directly, but I'm telling you now that like people love you because you want to have the best service and you want to give people a good product. And that's why people were like, hey, we need you to come back. And I think that you've probably seen it, that it's been successful and people are supporting you.
Yes, I mean, since I started working on La Plaza, I remember a lot of people, they support us and they tell me, thanks for being here, thanks for come to Fairview. We don't have any restaurant at that time. And so I receive a lot of good compliments from people.
Yeah.
And obviously we have some issues with, some customers too.
You're always gonna have a few issues with some customers. That's
but I learned to even with those difficult customers.
Yeah.
It was one particular. It was very hard to deal one night.
Mm-hmm.
So I called him at the end of the night and apologized. And later he became one of my best supporters. He called and say, "Is Armando there?" And they say, "Yes." "Oh, I want he take my order. I don't want nobody else take my order." And he always go and pick up the order on the drive-thru. And he become one of my
biggest supporters.
Very support.
Well, yeah, that's really important, and again, that's something to talk to Commissioner about. That if you are available to the people don't like big organizations. Like, people prefer to support local, and if you are available. And I tell people this all the time, even in the industry that I'm in the landscaping industry, and it's the same for us, that you will win everybody over if you just call somebody back. If you take the call, like when somebody's yelling at you or somebody's upset, it's like if you just listen to what they're saying. They're bitching and complaining and they're unhappy and they're mad and they're just unhappy about this. But the fact that you listen to this one person, he became your fan, because that's the customer service that people are looking for.
Yes, that's true. And like you say, this community is a great community, and one of the reasons why I backed and opened Nando's, now Cano's, is because my family and I, we fall in love with Fairview.
Yeah.
I feel and we feel part of Fairview. So even I've been here on the United States for 25 years. I feel like I'm living more than a half of my life here. So
yeah.
And we feel part of Fairview. We love Fairview. We like the school system here. I had 2 kids already graduate. The oldest, Brian, maybe you don't remember him too.
I remember Brian.
Yeah, Brian, he graduated. He's now 31 years old.
Yeah.
Fernando graduated from here. He got to Knoxville, and this year I have a daughter who wanna graduate from high school too.
This year?
This year. So yeah, one of the reasons why my wife never want to move from Fairview is because the school system.
Yeah.
She like how the kids. I have some people sometimes they ask me say, hey, does you kids sometimes being bullied for being Mexican American?
Mm-hmm.
And I told them, no, not even Brian, not even Fernando. I never hear from them. I never hear from the ones who born here. Nobody treat them bad.
No.
So that's a good thing. And you know, my kids that are happy here.
Yeah. Well, it's a testament to the community that I think that a lot of people, you know, there's racism out there, there's prejudice out there, but I think in this community, it's like, no, we like people. In the South, we like people. You know, in Fairview, we like people. And it's like, we base things in our minds on, you know, the quality of the person or how the person is. It's like, you know, we don't care if you're Mexican or you're black or whatever. It's like, nobody cares about any of that. It's like, you guys are a part of the community. It's like, no matter what, and this is what I talked about with Bert, and I talked about with the commissioner as well, that, you know, the commissioner's from New York.
Yes.
And so he comes down here, and it's like, you know, there's always the idea that like, oh, we don't want this person from up north coming down here. But no, it's like we welcome anybody as long as you're trying to come into the community and be a part of the community. And I think that you've proven to be a part of the community for sure. But it's like, it's funny to think that there's still this issue out there, but I think generally speaking, people across the country or across the world, we're not our governments, we're not our city governments or anything like that. It's like people just love people.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that the community welcoming you is like, I don't see you as, oh, this guy came from Mexico. It's like I see you as like, well, you're actually my neighbor because you live right down the road from me. It's like you're our neighbor.
Yeah, I live in the same house for 19 years since I moved to Fairview. I rented in the beginning for so many years, and I buy it maybe I think 3 years ago. And my wife liked the house, even he's same old than me, and she said, "No, let's buy this house, and we don't gonna move to Dixon. We want to stay here. We like Fairview."
Yeah. It's funny because I've lived here all my life. I think I've probably mentioned this before, but there's been several opportunities over my life that I could have been, you know, left the town, you know, just go somewhere else. But like, I don't want to be anywhere else but here because I just like it here. It's comfortable, slow. You know, you don't have to worry about all these too many things happening. It's probably a little bit different for you because the restaurant business is like very, you know, fast paced and all that. But being in the community here is a really good thing. And I really do like that we, you know, appreciate anybody that comes in and wants to have spend the money and do all the things to put a business here. And you've done that. Well, you kind of establish yourself with La Plaza and then come back opening up your other restaurants and stuff. It's great. I'm glad that your kids have been comfortable here. And nobody ever wants anyone to feel uncomfortable for being here. I know that it's an issue maybe somewhere else, but it's not here.
Yeah, that's true. And I was talking to my wife, I think a few weeks ago, when we opened Nando's. we hear from some people because he was Oscar before, and before Oscar, he was couple sport bars, and they say, I hear several people say, no, you don't gonna make it. No restaurant or sport bar lasts more than 2 years in that place.
But that's been true. That's been true, that it hasn't lasted. And on top of that, I will say that it was a sports bar. There was actually, like, on part of Cano's now, that used to be like a clothing shop or something like that. But none of those things lasted. And then when we found out that you were going in over there, you know, the immediate thought of the normal Fairview person's like, well, we've already got Dos Margaritas in La Plaza.
Yeah, we already have three Mexican restaurants.
Well, it's funny. We have 3 Mexican restaurants. We're like, so I know for me, and it's probably like that with a lot of people out there, like, who's going to get put out of business? Is La Plaza going to get put out of business? Is Dos Margaritas going to get put out of business? Will Cano's fail? Nando's at the time, will it fail? No. Everybody wants Mexican food.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's what they say. No, you're gonna fail. They say, I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make the business going. And I had the opportunity to do that, and now we expand, we grow, and it's been hard. Honestly, it's been really, really hard.
Yeah.
But we are being able to grow. We are being able to help the community when the schools or churches go and say, hey, can you give a donation? Can we have a fundraiser over here? Say yes. That's the reason why I'm doing business, because I want to give back.
Yeah.
I want to give back to the community, and I think that's the reason why God gave me the opportunity to live.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you know, the reason that you're successful right now is because of you being just, you know, the guy managing at La Plaza, and the people getting to know you and getting into the community, and people knowing Fernando, being young, and, you know, seeing the work ethic that you're teaching the kids. That will make you successful more than anything, because we all are out here supporting you. We don't care that there's 2 other Mexican restaurants here. People go to it. I go to both of those places, and it's great. But, like, we support you and who you are and what you're doing, and we see your ethic. I talked to Bert about this, that, like, you're probably the person that is that has the most entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial spirit of anybody in Fairview, because you're willing to try anything, and if it doesn't work, then you're just like, okay, that didn't work, I'm going to try something else. Because a lot of people, they try something, and if it doesn't work, and they're like, well, I just give up. I don't want to do it anymore. I always think about you, like, because, you know, I'd go in there and I'd talk to you, and you're trying these things. Okay, I'm doing breakfast now, or I'm doing the ice cream. I'm doing, you know, maybe a bar, and you know, you got ideas. The thing is people have ideas, but nobody acts on it. You're acting on it. And if it doesn't work, you're not like, it just doesn't work. I just give up. You just scrap it and do the next thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I've been trying several things, and I tried breakfast. I tried breakfast on La Plaza too, and we try here, and there are some things don't work out, and say, oh, that's fine. We tried, and
maybe logistically it doesn't work out, or it's like it's hard to get people in at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, or is there enough people that are going to come and do it? Maybe not necessarily that did it work out or did it not work out. It probably was fine, but is it worth doing it regularly to continue doing breakfast or whatever it is? But that's what we were talking about, is like, you got to have like balls of steel to be able to say, you know what, this didn't work out. I'm going to not do this anymore, and I'm going to try this other thing. And so many people give up easily about that.
Yes, that's true. And I've been failing in two restaurants. Maybe not too many people know about it, but I mentioned to you before when Nando's Peri Peri sent us the letter, the trainer like, oh, we're gonna sue you. You don't change the name. It was because we opened on Nashville that God's Kitchen.
Yeah.
And we call Cano's. But I'm sorry, Nando's. And so we failed on that one. I told to Fernando was running that. I said, I think you don't worry. We've been trying a couple months, and I don't think we're gonna have any success here. Let's forget about it. Let's take the Kidman out. And that was when we started doing the 96 location, the taqueria.
Yeah.
He said, let's take that place, and we want to use all the equipment we buy for Nashville and use it over there. So he said, okay, let's try it. Let's try that.
Yeah.
He said, forget about
You spend a lot of money trying to get that working. You felt like a lot of it's your gut. You're like, I don't feel like this is going to work out. So you remove all of your, whatever you put into that and shift it over here.
Yes, and the other business we failed is we tried to do a meat and tree on Laos, and I think one of the reasons why we failed is because we don't have enough staff to do it, and the lease it was too high. So we tried for a year, and I told to my partners over there, there's no way I can help you, like be present over there or be running. So let's close it and let's continue and see what else we can do.
Yeah.
So I've been failing in a couple of business and it's part, I think, the learning process.
Yeah, it's a part of the learning process, and you got to take risk.
Exactly.
If you're not taking risk, you're not a true entrepreneur, because true entrepreneurs will take the risk and they'll lose a lot of money, lose a lot of things, and you can completely shut down and say, well, that wasn't going to work. But what a true entrepreneur does is say, okay, that didn't work. I'm going to try this other thing. And that's what's so impressive about you, Armando, is that you are you will admit defeat, because a lot of people don't admit that to themselves. And then the next thing you know, your business is closing. They're putting a foreclosure sign up on your door. But if you admit defeat and say, okay, I'm not going to put any more thought and effort into this, I'm going to move on to this, then you'll be successful, because one, you have the following, because you've got the support of the community that you earned back in the La Plaza days. And then if you put money into wanting to start whatever business that you're doing, you need the support of the community, and you have the support of the community. And so, because your family's here, your kids went through school here, everybody knows you. I don't even know how you walk through Walmart or something without somebody saying, "Hey, Armando, hey, how are you doing?"
Yeah, I feel good about it, and I know people love me. I have several customers who express that, and we have been taking risks. And I was telling to my wife, I told her, I think people think we have a lot of money, maybe because we have 3 or 4 business, but I told them I'm gonna go with team and told I'm gonna tell them That's not true.
No, you don't have any money.
I have no money.
I know you have no money.
I have no money. We been able to open some other business, but all the money is there, and we try to get back to the community. And I told to my wife, I'm gonna tell them like it take me 25 years to have to own $600,000 on loans and the house and the cars but that's how that's how business work out. You have to take the risk to get a loan from the bank or get a loan for a friend or have some investors, and you have to try it.
Well, I think that people do need to understand that, like, just because you have a few businesses doesn't mean you have any. Listen, Armando, I know you're as poor as I am. I know you don't have any money, but it is for the love of community, to be able to be a part of this community, to have a place where people go and enjoy themselves and do all that. Because, you know, if you were just in it for the money, you'd be dropping canos, you know, all over the place, but you don't have the money to spend on all that. You're trying to give people a good product, give people a good place to go and hang out, have some beers, have some margaritas, enjoy themselves, play some trivia, do all that kind of stuff. And then you actually have the store over there to where, you know, you want even the Mexican community to come and get items and stuff like that. But it doesn't equal Armando's got a lot of money and he's rich. It means that, like, you're probably making, you know, enough of a living to get by.
Yes, my goal in life is just
to be comfortable.
To be comfortable and provide for my kids and
to teach them.
Exactly.
And they've proven that with Brian and Fernando, like you teaching them, like, hard work gets you these things.
Yes, and we already started with the other ones with Armando. He's 15 years old. He don't like to be outside talking with people. He likes to be in the kitchen. So he helps us washing dishes. And I had my other daughter, Michelle. She's 14 years old. She helps us 1 or 2 nights or 3 nights a month, running the cashier.
But she probably likes doing these specific things.
Yes.
But that's what's good about it, is everybody has their different things that they like and what they're really good at. And so, like, your family's big enough to where, like, you've got somebody to do it.
I have 6 kids, or 3 boys, 3 girls, and the youngest, Giselle, she's 11 years old, but she's the one who say she wants to run the business. And the first thing she's going to do is change the name. So
what's she going to change it to?
To her name, Giselle.
She wants to change it to her name.
She told me that a couple of years ago, and I asked her, do you still want to change the name of the restaurant? She said, no. But you still want to run it? She said, yes, I want to be the boss.
Yeah.
And
you know what's funny about that, Armando, is that she's going to grow up and maybe she takes this thing and it goes worldwide. You know, it's like maybe she's the one that takes, like, what her dad started here in the small town of Fairview and just catapults it into the world. You know, that's possible.
Yeah, that's possible. And you know, I talked to Fernando, say we can say, like, from Fairview to the world, Canos.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to worry about the Nando's problem with the name. It's like Canos.
Yeah, we already trademarked that so that we don't have that issue anymore.
That's smart. So you don't have that problem anymore. Is there someone else out there that has Canos?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, the idea is, like you say, teach to my kids. They have to work hard. If they want to drive a nice car or they want to have a nice house, they want to work for it.
Yeah,
I already told them. I told them, now you grow up, you are not little kids anymore. I had to tell you, like, you had to work.
Yeah, if
really
you want
hard.
these nice things, you have to work for it.
And I told them, if someday I have some money, I'm not gonna give that money to you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna when I maybe in 10 years, 15 years when I retire, I'm gonna spend that money with your mom because she's the one
Yeah.
who is being with me all the processing.
Yes.
Coming from nothing to have a little bit.
I was going to ask you about your wife. I think that your wife, more than you, because you're the risk taker. You're the one that's like, hey, I want to do all of these things. And so your wife, everybody's wife is the person that, like, at the end of the day, you're talking, I think I want to do this, or I think I want to do that. How's your wife taking all of this? Is she like, Armando, no more?
She's been saying that several times. Are you crazy? You are trying to open another business and you don't have the staff to do it. You don't have the time, and you don't have the money. And I said, I told her, I think
You're like, I think I got something here.
I have something here, and she told me, when you gonna stop? I said, maybe never gonna stop. Because my mom is always thinking
when you're dead.
Yeah, that's what I told, and that's what I told to some of the guys and girls from the rest of the staff. I told them, because they asked me, when do you have a day off, or when do you wanna have a couple of days off? I say, no, I told them, I'm gonna rest when
you're dead. you can rest when you're dead.
And they just looked to me and they said, you are crazy. And that's because I love the restaurant business. I never dreamed to end up doing that.
Yeah.
And I really like it.
Yeah.
It's hard, but
it's hard work. It's hard work, but it's rewarding when you see people come in and they enjoy themselves. They eat some good food, have some drinks, and it's like, people are willing to pay. I don't care what something costs as long as I'm having a good experience. And part of that experience to me is supporting local and supporting someone that I care about. And all of this started with, like, people learning who you are and who your family is through La Plaza, just trying to, they want to support you, Armando. And I think it's really important that, that.
Yes, and I'm blessed for have all the support for the Fairview community, and I feel proud to know during all these 19 years living here in Fairview, I consider I have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
You, Bert, the people from the banks, from Apex Bank, from First Bank. I know several of those ladies. I know long time customers who they used to go to La Plaza. They follow me to Dixon. They follow me to Cano's, and I have some go to the restaurant in Laos. They say, we go to Laos. We live in Laos, so we go to Laos. We come to see you to Fairview maybe once a month, but we support you. I want to let you know we support you. So I know you support me, and I appreciate that.
So where are you at right now with everything? You've got Cano's, you've got the place. What is it called down there at 96?
It's Cano's Taqueria. Yeah, Taqueria is more like a Mexican street food.
Yeah, street food.
And it's the same with the food trailer. And the idea to have the food trailer here. I know a lot of people told me, why do you have 3 business in Fairview? And I told them, because I can and I want, and because even if we have Canos in Fairview, the taqueria on the 96 is different because I can say it's more authentic.
Yeah.
We have tongue tacos there. We had tripa tacos there. We had mulitas. We have some more of the Mexican street food.
Yeah, the stuff that maybe the Americans won't really care about, but I always think it's funny because I always remember every time we go in and when we talk to you, it's like you're telling me your ideas. And I remember one time you said, I think that you learned this in COVID, that because you guys were delivering during COVID.
Yeah, my sister-in-law and myself, we used to deliver, and I start seeing all the houses.
You're just like, there's no, like, if you live on that side of Fairview, there's no, there's not a lot of restaurants that are down there, and you guys were delivering out there constantly. So you were just like, in your entrepreneur brain, you were thinking, we need something out there.
Yes, when we started doing the delivery during COVID, we used to deliver. We still deliver to Laos, Bon Aqua, Franklin, Kingston Spring, and Burns. Some of those houses over there. The last drive, we had like 10 houses we delivered. It's like a 20 minutes going and 20 minutes back, so it's 40 minutes drive to deliver food over there. And so I told to Fernando, if someday we had the opportunity to have even a small place here, we should do it, so that way we can take over the delivery business over here.
Yeah.
And it worked good. We don't ended up taking the delivery business from Cano's Fairview, but we have construction people, we had landscapers, we had truckers who...
Well, it's right off the interstate there, so it works out good.
Yeah, so it worked good. And if God led me, maybe in a few years we can open a brand new restaurant there.
Yeah.
That's the idea. And you remember we talked a few years ago.
Yeah, hold on a second. So, yeah, we were talking about the... so I would come up there and I would talk to you, and you have all these businesses, and then I'm like, Armando, we got to have a steakhouse in Fairview. And you're like, I see the gears turning. Armando's, his entrepreneur brain is thinking, you know what? That would probably be a good idea.
Yeah, like I was telling you, I mentioned that to Joe, and I think it was back in 2-3 years ago. And he just call me 3 weeks ago and say, hey, do you still want to do the steakhouse? And I say, yes, I have someone who wants to open the steakhouse with me. And you remember we talked about it, so I said, so I think that will be possible maybe in a year, 2 years.
Look, I'm telling you, the people of Fairview, we've established, we all love Mexican food. But, like, we have nowhere else to go. There's, like, no other kind of food. So if you wanted to go get, I mean, even something as dumb as, like, a Chili's or a Logan's or, something like that, or Applebee's, like, I think the people here would like something different. And so the steakhouse, I guess my vision for it would be, it doesn't have to be like really, really fancy, like suit and tie or anything, but like, you dress casual, nice casual. You come in, you got a nice bar, you get some steak. I mean, I think that would be primo. Pinche perro.
I remember him.
Yeah, but I think it would be good if we were able to do something like that for sure.
Yes, and so you say,
get. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. The perros, they were ready to come out after they've been working on the deck all day.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, I think that like I said, my vision for it just be, somewhere people can go get steak or chicken or whatever else. But I told you about that, and you were just like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. because we need something like that out here. We really don't have anything like that. You have to travel to get that.
Yes, I think that would be good. And like you told me, I think it was a year ago, 2 years ago when we
a couple
talked
years
about it.
ago. Yeah.
And I said, yeah, that could be something good to do it and something different than Mexican food. And I think it will be good. You even told me about even the name.
What was the name? See if you remember it.
It was you and Nikki, Natchez Trace.
I don't remember what it was.
Like,
That's wild.
I think like the bridge on 96 going to Franklin.
Yeah, Natchez. It'd be something. Natchez Steaks or something. Something like
Natchez Steakhouse.
Something that Natchez Steakhouse. Something that sounded fancy. But you come in and no, I guess I at the time I was thinking of like, there's Sperry's over here in Belmead. There's another one in Cool Springs. It's kind of really upscale, Belmead type of place. But when you go in there, it's not like too upscale. It's more like, it's pretty casual, but it's got a good vibe, low light, get a great steak, get some salmon or something like that. I think that something like that would do really good out here. And when I talk to you about it, you are an entrepreneur. And I think that you'll try, if you think that something will work, I think that you'll go all in. And that's saying a lot because, like you said before, it's not like you're a millionaire. It's not like Armando's out here just like, I got all this money. It's like I think that you put your money where you believe that something can, be successful. And if you lose, you lose. You can move on to something else. But I really do think that Fairview is primed for, something like that. I think that it could be successful.
Yes, and when all these new houses and all people moving from New York, California, Texas,
Mexico,
and I've been seeing when we start doing the delivery on COVID, I told to my wife, I always drive from La Plaza to the house, from Las Plazas and Dixon to the house, and I don't never drive around the town. When we start doing the deliveries, I start driving all Fairview, and I told to my wife, you can believe how many houses and how beautiful houses are here on Fairview. And I told her, and I see this town is gonna grow.
It's interesting about Fairview is you probably, as awful as the whole pandemic and the whole COVID thing was, you probably learned a lot about the town because you weren't necessarily, because people were coming to you, and a lot of businesses didn't do this, but you were going to them, to deliver. And I remember like, hey, Armando, we need about 3 or 4 pitchers of margaritas out here. Hey, all of a sudden it's like it was allowed to, you can have, margaritas delivered.
And beer, yep. And I think that was part of how a lot of business survive. We survive thanks to the delivery option. And when they allow to sell to-go alcohol, to-go beer, to-go margaritas, I used to deliver some alcohol, and I think it was better for people because you don't have to be drinking and driving. You are at your home.
Yeah.
You order your food. If you want a beer or you want margaritas, you get your margaritas. And you don't have to worry about be driving on the town and people over and get a DUI.
Are we still allowed to do that? Because I remember back then during the pandemic, I think that you were allowed to take like your margarita to go.
Yes.
You were allowed to do that.
Yeah, they
which
allowed
was
to do that.
awesome.
That was pretty good, and I think it's 2 years. That finished on July 1st, 2 years ago, 2023.
Yeah, 2023.
Yeah, they sent a letter to all the, I think, restaurants and businesses. The end of the last day you can sell alcohol to go is going to be June 30 and July 1st, no more alcohol.
But I think the reality of it is you're right. It was safer for people to, like, not necessarily like, that's what's always funny about it to me is like, you would show up to deliver the food. Like a lot of places like have Grubhub or, Uber or whatever delivering it. But like, if you called up there and they would take the order and like Armando would show up with your food because you're trying to make it work. You're hustling and making it work and doing all that. But it is safer if you're bringing the margaritas to somebody's house as opposed to like they go to the restaurant, they have too many to drink, and then they go out and drive around. But it was such a crazy time,
It was crazy. It was.
Do you still do deliveries and stuff like that?
We still deliver food, but now we use Uber Eats and DoorDash. We still have our own platform, but when I opened the mini market and the food trailer, I told them I don't be able to do delivery anymore. So we move out our platform with Uber Eats so that they take care of that.
Yeah.
But thanks to the platform we have since the beginning, we was able to survive.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I know
that is gonna fare.
It's
the first year, not 2 years, like a lot of people say. The first year probably gonna close our doors, but no, that helped us a lot, and all the people who order delivery or order to go and they support us. I remember the first Cinco de Mayo on the pandemic. It was the craziest Cinco de Mayo I ever see on my whole life.
Why? What happened?
It was, we had enough people, but it was overwhelming for everybody. I think hear from.
You talking about like people would leave and go to the actual restaurant?
Yeah, go to the restaurant and order food on Cinco de Mayo, and I don't remember. I think it was the margaritas too. And we have so many online orders, pick up and delivery.
So you had the online orders and everybody going to the restaurant.
We had people waiting for more than an hour. Forget the food. I was serving the food. I was making the burritos, the quesadillas, and all that stuff. And I have like this amount of tickets.
Yeah.
To make. So we was taking turns to say to my sister-in-law, to Maria, my sister, now you start serving, and I'm gonna help you doing this. I'm gonna take these deliveries. And we had the people waiting. My wife was working there too, and I helped some other people help us. And the good thing is like nobody complained that day because they see how busy was the restaurant, and we was doing everything in our hands to have the food ready for the people who was there picking up the food and for the delivery.
I think that people need to understand that if you have a bad experience at your restaurant or any restaurant, be understanding and mindful that like there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I've been in the food industry before, and it's like it's a lot of hard work, and especially on Cinco de Mayo, immediately, all Americans are just like, we're going to get some Mexican food, we're going to get some margaritas. And so you're just slammed. But that's good to hear that people were understanding of that.
Yeah, we remember people say, we understand that. And I think on that time we started selling those paletas, the Mexican popsicles. So we started give to some people.
Yeah, giving them out.
Yep. You know,
to make everybody tranquilo. Everybody needs to take it easy. Come on.
And I hear from people from Two Margaritas and La Plaza, they have the same issue. They say, you know, we was not expecting that.
Yeah.
So it was too much.
Yeah, well, man, it's such a crazy time. It's funny because since I've been doing this podcast, I've been thinking more about the pandemic, that time in our lives where everything was so crazy. I mean, the reason that I haven't really thought about it because I was considered with the industry that I'm in, I was an essential worker. And so my life didn't really change. I went to work every day. I did all the things. But like to think about people just like cooped up in their house and they couldn't do anything. And then like you have an event like that and it's just like people just need that release. They need that, we're going to go out and have some drinks, have a good time. I'm sure that all of the restaurants here were just overwhelmed with the amount of people that were needing to get out, you know?
Yes, I think that there was no, how do they call it? Social distance or safe distance?
No, social distance didn't exist.
That day.
I don't think that people cared about that at that point because people just wanted to get out. You know, they were tired of being cooped up but yeah, so you guys were pretty busy that first Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, that was the busiest. We have been having more busy days, but that special day, because we don't expect that many people or be slamming, use an hour, a couple hours. That was why it was. So I thought I have to do something about it and be prepared next year.
Yeah.
And now what I do is I do 3 days. This year I'm going to do May 2nd, May 3rd, and May 4th.
Yeah.
Because Cinco de Mayo is Monday, so I spread Cinco de Mayo in 2 days.
So you're going to have like you said Cinco de Mayo this year is on Monday, so you're going to have like a Cinco de Mayo weekend.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo weekend, so we're going to have different things, so that way the people who still want to go on Cinco de Mayo, they go, but they know they can go on Friday night and have some beers on margaritas.
Trying to space it out.
Yes, exactly. That's what I've been doing the last couple of years.
Well, it's probably
and it works.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably good that it's on Monday because then you can just kind of build up to it as opposed to, hey, Cinco de Mayo's on Thursday and everybody's there all at once.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I'm sure is that like the biggest day for you guys?
Oh no, actually our biggest day is the July 3rd when we had all the fireworks and the
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right.
Because
the city does the thing.
Yes. So that's our busiest evening, busiest day in general, but the evening is so crazy.
I used to work at Mellow Mushroom in Franklin on the square, and it would get busy and all the things were happening, but the biggest day of the year was Main Street Festival. They do it I always remember because it was around the time that Jack was born in April. They always do it in April. It's like a spring thing. And so they close the square off. They got all these vendors out here, and at Mellow Mushroom, like we were just slammed because it was like this big event. And so that's kind of like you guys, like y'all are having the big event out there, and so people are just coming in all the time.
Yeah, coming in, they buy a couple of drinks, or they eat, or they use the restroom. We had people a line for the restroom.
Yeah, just to come use the restroom.
Yeah, and we had a lot of people going to since we had the bar, going to the bar and get a beer or drink a beer, and so it's busy all the time. We had the patio full, and we don't do any to-go deliveries that day.
That's probably good.
We shut down
You're just trying to focus on the people
on the
there.
people. So that's our busiest or biggest day of the year.
Yeah. Do you think that out of the business that you have here, are you guys still in Laos or
Yes, I still in Laos.
is that one doing pretty good?
Oh, that's doing much better, especially when the other restaurant we closed, the Midden Tree restaurant, it was there.
Yeah.
So I think now it's 2 restaurants there. The
Are you talking about in that same?
no, on the Laos area.
Yeah.
So it's I think the last year and the last couple of years, it started growing. Mm-hmm. So now that business is one. I think is the second business led me a little more profit.
Yeah. Do you think that out of the businesses that you have between Cano's out here in Fairview and then Cano's by the interstate down there, and then you have the convenience store. What's the name of the convenience store?
La Tiendita, Cano's Mini Market.
Whatever you said there. The convenience store there. Which one of those do you think is doing the best? Like, if you looked at the numbers and you said, hey, where am I being successful? What do you think the best one is?
Cano's here
in Fairview, like the main
yeah.
one. But as far as like the one on 96, do you think that like, is there good solid ground on that?
Yeah, it's solid ground. And the idea there is a few years, I don't know how long it's going to take me, is find a property there and a land and build a brand new restaurant.
But I do think that the people on that side of Fairview, because they really do kind of get the shaft on all that, because all the stuff's here in Fairview. They're still considered Fairview out there, but they got Denny's or Subway.
Yeah.
But like they don't have anything else. And I remember when you said that, when we came and had dinner one time, and you said, I'm thinking about doing something down there. I was like, you know what? That's probably genius. That's very, very smart. And you learned that because of the pandemic.
Yes.
You learned that they needed something out there. And didn't people reach out to you and say that, like, hey, we need something out here? Did you have a situation like that, or did you just notice it?
No, I just noticed it. And
that all of your deliveries were like, you always had to drive like 10, 20 minutes to.
Yeah, and I have some people from Boone sometimes. They told me, you need to open a restaurant there. And I told them, you already have a Mexican restaurant there. And it's one of my friends' restaurants. And people from Kingston Springs, they told me, you have to open a Cano's in Kingston Springs.
Yeah.
And I have people from Franklin, they told me the same thing. And
hey,
people
come out here.
Come over here. People from Springfield. And yeah, but when I start doing the deliveries, I say, people on this side of the city or the town, they don't have nothing. It's a lot of potential there, and I believe, and I'm pretty sure I build a nice restaurant there. It will be even better than this one over here.
Do you foresee yourself between you and your family extending Cano's out into different areas?
No.
In your lifetime, do you think that you see yourself, I mean, maybe your kids in the future, after you're retired and you don't want to do it anymore, do you see them like trying to expand it out?
Yeah, I when I started doing, when I opened Cano, I said maybe later we can try some other towns. And now I think even if my kids, already the youngest, she's gonna help me out with that. But I even thinking to go to Germany, Italy,
yeah,
French. I have some friends that I meet here in Fairview through La Plaza.
Yeah.
And they move out over there. They move to Germany, and
they want to have you guys.
Yeah, they tell me, hey, but you come over here and open a something like do you used to have on La Plaza like you have now. So you're gonna be able to open more business over there. So I'm thinking about it.
It's funny because it's kind of scary to think that because you're just not familiar with all that over there. But I mean, it might work,
Yep, it might work. And honestly, I've been thinking about it for the last few months. I think in 2 years, I'm gonna try to do something over there.
Yeah.
And start knowing some other countries too, because that's one of my dreams. When I be able to retire, start traveling, some other countries, and why not? Maybe have a business over there, a house over there.
Yeah, I bet your wife would be happy about that. Hey, Armando, since we spent all this time building all of this, like she wants to take it easy and go and travel and do all the things, and you say, "Yeah, honey, we can travel to Germany, so I can check on my restaurant, so I can check on my restaurant in Germany."
Yeah, when she told me last year, when are you gonna stop? I say, I don't know, maybe never. I'm always thinking what else to do. And Fernando told me to watch this this movie. He calls it talks about the McDonald's history.
Oh yeah.
And I forget the name right now. And I just watched a couple months ago. And there is one part when the wives or the recruits ask him, when you gonna stop? And he said, no. So that I told to my wife, that remind me, like I tell you that when you ask me when gonna stop to open another business, even when I don't have the time.
Yeah.
Even when I don't have the staff to run it. And I told you, I don't know, because I think that's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
On life, trying to do something else.
Well, I think that it's again, Armando, you're very unique because there's people that are just American people that are just scared to take the risk. You've got a family. How many kids did you say you have?
6.
You got 6 kids.
6 kids.
And so, I know for me personally, I'm scared to do anything else. I got to work this job, make this money in order to support my family. But then there's people like you that are just like, you know what? I need to do the same thing, but I'm willing to take that risk because if you take the risk, then there's reward for it. If you don't take the risk, you have a life of just working this job and doing this thing. And so it's admirable that you're willing to take the risk and put it all on the line to be able to build something, build a future for your kids, to do all those things. And it's like, I just have a lot of respect for you that you're able to do all that. I think the community has a lot of respect for you that you're willing to take the risk and to admit failure if something doesn't work out, and then to turn around and try something else, because it's not normal for people to do that because people are scared. And the fact that you've done this and that you're not scared to do it, you're not scared to take a chance and fail. You take a chance, put your family on the line, and they support you. I'm sure your wife gives you a hard time, but she supports you to do anything that you want to do.
Yeah, she gives me a hard time, but yep, she's, I think, one of the. That's what I told her. You start. We started marriage or life together 28 years ago, and you are being with me all this time when we don't have a house in Mexico, we don't have a car, we don't have nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
So she's been all the time with me, support me, and help me out even when I'm down or when I've been almost quitting to do something. She said, no. I know you for a long time, and you always, every time you find something, it don't let you grow.
Yeah.
You find a way. So you just keep going. You I know you can do it. So she always, I think she's my biggest cheerleader, I can say.
Yeah, biggest cheerleader, biggest supporter.
Very supporter. So,
but you got to have that, because if you have a spouse, a husband or a wife that is not, in the background supporting you on any of that stuff, you might have given up. And that what I always think about is like, Armando, what happens when if you died tomorrow, what happens? Well, I think that your kids are probably going to take it on and build it to something.
Yes, and I think now my wife is ready to do it.
Yeah.
And last year I start talking with her, and Maria, my sister-in-law, said, I think you start running the business and let me do something else. Let me see the business from the outside of the box.
Yeah.
And we are right now in a process to do some change. They're the one who are in charge of the business, but I'm on the back.
Yeah.
And we have a hostel. We started having a hostel last week. We're gonna get a bartender. We are on the process in a few months maybe to buy some booths over there. So I already have another idea to do on the same restaurant.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try to change the concept to be a casual restaurant, to be a little bit more. It's not fancy, but more organized, more. We are trying to get a better service.
You're just trying to dial it in.
Yes.
Be the best that you can be.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's important.
And that's what I see on that restaurant. I see a lot of potential. And even if in a couple of years with my lease end, maybe I'm going to be able to open a restaurant where I can be the owner of the building.
Yeah.
Maybe I move that one, or maybe I do something else.
You build your own. You build your own place.
Yeah, and you and me and Nikki, we're gonna do the steakhouse.
We are. Look, I'm here to tell you. I know that maybe we don't come around as often as we should, but the steakhouse is fresh on my mind, because I'm, as bad as I am about being a member of this community, I am a member of this community.
Yes, you are a member of this community. And
I do know what I think that people would like, and I really do think that a steakhouse is some kind of steakhouse. It doesn't even have to be a steakhouse, but I think a steakhouse would be good. We got so many people coming in here, and they need more options. There's just not a lot of options out here, and I think that it would do well.
Yes, and probably later I'm gonna tell you where Joe they're gonna build these upscale houses. He's talking about $2 million houses.
Yeah.
And down here on Highway 100, he wants to do some kind of retail, and he wants me to do the excuse me.
Maybe we do need to make it a more of an upscale place if we're getting $2 million houses out here in Fairview. Maybe we need to make it fancy.
Yeah, I think John Cherry told me even the houses we're gonna have here on Chester. Mm-hmm. He said it's gonna cost $1.5 million.
Really?
This one over here.
Where they cut that in?
Chester over there.
Yeah.
Chester, I think they already have a name.
Chester Estates or something like that.
Yeah, so the idea that Joe had this idea too. He already told me, if you still want to do the steakhouse with your friends or your partners, how many seats do you want? And he already told me the style of the construction. And he told me, I want to be an upscale restaurant because we're going to be on a upscale subdivision of houses.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I think that's possible. I already have a team want to do the steakhouse.
Well, anybody that's listening now, if you are interested in having some kind of upscale type steakhouse, let us know.
No.
That way we know to save us a little bit of money before me and Armando put all of our life savings into a steakhouse here in Fairview.
We broke.
It would be appreciated if you let us know before we do that.
Yes, and like you say on the Fairview page, Fairview, then and now, we already see a lot of people saying, "Oh, we need this, we need that."
Yeah.
And I think the fact or the problem there is like not too many people has the willing to do it or want to take the risk to do it.
Exactly, it's the risk.
Or find a way to do it because some of the other things people want, some of them there is possible, but you need a lot of money to do it.
Yeah, that's what people don't understand is, I mean, you probably lose your ass a lot of the time on all the things that you want to do, which is, yeah. I mean, you could have been like, I'm going to open a restaurant, have a good, successful restaurant and not spend all the money that you've done on all the other things. But there's something in your heart and in your mind that's like, I want to do, you want to do this thing. That's that entrepreneur spirit, because you're either going to make a lot of money and be very successful, or you could completely fall on your face.
Yes.
And you've done both.
I've been both. So
you've had both. And so, but the thing about it is like, if you don't try, then you never know.
Exactly. Yes.
And it's funny because like, as I get older and my kids are, they're older and they're, they got a life of their own. It's like, I want to do that. I want to take the risk. I know that there's never any guarantee that you're going to be successful.
Oh yes, it's no guarantee. Like we don't even know we're gonna wake up tomorrow.
Yeah, we don't know if we're going to be here tomorrow. Yeah. I mean, there's never a guarantee. But you got to have people like you, Armando, in the community and in the world that's just like, you know what, I want to try this. I feel like it'll be successful, and you do it. I mean, you look at like people like Elon Musk, where they've spent a lot of money on something and they've completely failed at it, and there's like, and then they try to do something else, and sometimes it's successful and sometimes it's not, but that's that spirit that you have to have, and it's great that we have you in the community that's willing to do that. I mean, you've got 3 successful businesses here in town, plus you got the Lyles out there. You got anything else?
I have Laredo's Burrito and Taco Shop, a partnership on Laredo's and Taco Shop in Dixon.
Oh, that's right, in Dixon. So I mean, you're all over the place. One of the last things I wanted to ask you about, and you don't have to answer this, and I don't want you to be mad about it, but I have a theory.
Oh, I that's the main reason why I'm here.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna tell you my theory, and you can answer me honestly, or you can not answer me honestly. But I have a theory that all Mexican restaurants are a place where drug cartel can launder their money.
Yes,
hold on a second before you answer. I'm just telling you because I had a bet with all of my friends. They were like, "You won't ask Armando about that." I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna ask Armando about that. If he gives me an honest answer, that's one thing. But if he doesn't, that's fine. But I will ask him. So I'm asking you: is all of the Mexican restaurants drug cartel laundering?
No.
Okay, and I believe that. A lot of it is just me getting a laugh, having fun with it, but there are some that
But
are.
like you say, probably there are some. I tell you, one of the reasons because I accept to come to the podcast is because I told to my wife, does Tim really think that? He said no, and I told him she's really joking, but it will be good if I go and tell them.
No,
like
you
how, do. Like how us, we don't launder money for any cartel. Otherwise, I will be traveling the world already.
Well, I was gonna say you'd be rich and famous.
I'd be rich.
Armando would come over here to the podcast and he'd have like his diamond glasses on.
Maybe a Rolex or something like that. Maybe a limousine could be.
Yeah.
You see my truck right
Yeah, I saw your truck pull up. No, I really don't believe that, but I think it's a funny thought because you start watching stuff on Netflix like Ozark and all these shows where it's like the drug cartel's like involved in all of these things. And I'm just like, Nikki and I always go to El Guadalajara out here in Franklin.
I remember you mentioned it.
Every
there
now
was nobody there.
There's like nobody there. It's like, how do they keep
How do they pay the rent? How do they pay the employees?
It's like, hey, they're laundering that money for the drug cartel.
And let me tell you, I'm pretty sure there are some restaurants. I don't know about Tennessee, but I know for some people like there are some there.
Yeah.
They do that.
Yeah.
And but like my mom always say, easy comes, easy go.
Easy go.
Yeah, I remember to had when I used to work to Las Palmas, I know a guy who used to, I think, do some kind of bad things, and he asked me, hey, he called me sobrino, he's like a nephew. He don't even ask me, my uncle. He said, why you don't open tiendita? He said, what do you mean? He said, why you don't try to sell drugs? And say, no, I never will do that.
Yeah.
Say, I told them at that time, say, I have a wife and 2 kids. And they say, I think don't work it. I had an example for my mom, like she always was a hard worker woman. And I told me someday, I told to my mom, someday I'm gonna have something, because I work hard for it.
Yeah.
Say that thing don't go with me, and I think that's one of the problems was my country, why Mexico is so bad, because the young people they want easy.
Yeah,
easy money.
Yeah, they want easy money.
Easy money, and that's why they ended up dead, or they ended up in the jail. So
yeah,
it's very sad, and that's the main reason why always been working so hard is because my mom and my wife, my kids, and I use for a reason. God put me, give me a life because I had something special to do, and I think I always told them I'm a server. When people ask me, "What do you do for a living?" Oh, I'm a server, a waitress, and that's what I want to do. I want to serve the people. I want to give back because when I die, I don't want to take anything with me. So I better do something with my life and help people some way or another, maybe creating jobs, maybe help a school team, or maybe a church, something. I want to serve to the humanity.
No,
into a beautiful community. Fairview is, I consider is my hometown.
Yeah, this is definitely your hometown, and I don't want you to take offense. It's just a joke that.
Oh yeah, I know.
That all that. I do think that there's probably places, whether it be a Mexican restaurant or some other thing, But like, again, it's like if you rolled up in here and you had like diamond rings and you were doing all the things. I mean, you're just trying to make a living for your family.
Yes, I'm just trying to make it now.
You're trying to have a legacy for your kids to carry on, and I know that, but I just thought it would be funny because you kind of get wrapped up in all like the Ozark and how, you know, the drug cartels always trying to find some kind of way to get into to launder the money. But I just want to make sure you know that like I really don't think that about you guys or anything like that.
Yeah, and I talked to my wife. Say I told her, if he don't know, I'm gonna tell him about it.
No. I just want to make it clear that no, I know that there's nothing like that. It's all in good fun. But Armando, I think that what you've done for this community and the family, for your family and everything around here is an amazing thing. And we love you here in this community. I think that we do need to do the steakhouse, and we need to do the steakhouse. We need to expand the reach, but thank you for coming out here tonight.
Well, thank you for having me, and I really enjoy talk to you, and I've been enjoying your friendship for those many years, 19 years, I can tell.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Long time.
All right, thanks, Armando. See ya.